outside, background, what does that really mean in this part of the season? You get to go to a LAN, and just like it's always been, right? Wrong. Unlike other years, instead of having super regionals after the fall split with 6 teams, it used to be 4 teams, but now and it changed to 6 teams for super regionals. 6 teams will go to a LAN. That's how you qualify for Worlds, right? But not wrong now. So now the top 2 teams in NA and EU will skip the placement stage at HRX and automatically move on. Now I don't know what technically it is because I don't believe it's quarterfinals because I don't think you would just give 4 teams automatic top 8. Now this could be the what actually happens. I have not read that. But I believe they just make the direction. I don't know the exact formatting. I'll research that for hopefully another video. But top 2 in NA, top 2 in EU. And who do I think it's going to be? Well, if you look below, we have the standings on the left side. We have Team Dignitas NRG right now for EU. And on the right side, we have United and Splice for those who have not watched the SPL in a while. Now, speaking of Splice, we're going to start with NA. Splice at the beginning of the year were absolutely the worst NA team. And I can even go on record on Twitter saying that I think Splice should just drop their team, pick up Exodio or at least a couple of members because it just looked like Splice had zero clue what they were doing. And they were pretty much the SK of NA. They couldn't win. They had some good games here and there with like CLG and all that stuff, but CLG at this time was, even though they started off hot, they were still mid-table at the end of the day. They were still mid-table. And they actually, were on the downslope, as the season has gone on. But Splice was very bad at the start, and they've slowly and slowly picked up steam to the point now they're the only team to take a set off EU United, the only undefeated team in NA at the time. And who by and far was the best. Like, I'm talking about, it's not even like, okay, you have your number 1, but if they have an off day, number 2 can take a game off them, maybe number 3. No, EU United just smacked, it was not even close half of the games against these other NA teams. But Splice, I don't know what happened. I guess it took more and more time to finally get that synergy going. Actually, funny enough about Splice, I was explaining this to a friend earlier. Now that we see where they're at now, it makes total sense that they're number 2. Or at least, in that, hierarchy of NA. So when you look at the roster, you have Divios, a 2-time semifinalist, one of the best solo laners to ever touch the game. And he still is getting better. You have Cyclone Spin, one of the hardest carries to ever touch Smite. Season 2 Cyclone Spin has... I don't think anyone will ever touch Season 2 Cyclone Spin. Season 3 Baskin, and latter half of Season 2 Adapting are close. Now, depending on the person and how they see the game, they might, say one of those players are better. But I still think that Season 2 Cyclone Spin is the best, absolute best SPL has ever produced. I stand by that. And he has crushed it in the ADC hero since switching. He has crushed it. So then you have Aurora. His season 1, season 2, it was a little shaky. It wasn't that impressive, to be honest. Well, he himself was impressive, but his team overall was not that impressive. Going into season 3, he was semi-finalist along with Divios and the best, who was also on Splice during first 2 splits, and then he played 1 or 2 games in this fall split. But Roar told him specifically, semi-finalist at World Season 3. And he's always consistent. Now, he'll try to pull out some janky stuff every now and then, but at the same time, he knows his role. He knows what he's good at, and he's constantly doing that. I've been very happy with what I've seen our reward this split. Absolutely fantastic. Then you go to the mid lane, you have the best / Moswall. Now the best established player, old school player with Team Dignitas, one of the best legacy mid laners, and since he kind of came back in season 3 to the mid lane, he's never been like this superstar wow type character. He's never gonna wow you, but he's always gonna do his job. He's always gonna be that like 4-3-3 kind of guy, 2-2-2. That's the kind of performance you're gonna get out the best. Now he'll have those games where he's like 6-1-4 or 7-0-0. He'll have those type of games, right? But he'll never be the reason you lose. And you have Sino, Soundoff for those who didn't know him beforehand. He's always flirted around that higher Challenger Club / SPL scene. He's always tried to break in the SPL. I believe he almost. I remember the season right before he went to Xbox, or maybe the season of. He was this close to making it into the Challenger Cup, or maybe 8th seed SPL. I don't 100% remember. I just remember he was like, if he didn't get Kali ulted by iFates, his team would have won. Then he went on Xbox, got a world championship there. Oh, no. He should have gotten, but I remember, I think 2 seasons in a row, he came in second. I just remember his team, Astral, they were dominant. They were dominant. It was like him, Cloud, Brochacho, like that. They were absolutely dominant. So when you put these 5 players together, and you discard the first 2 splits, it makes total sense that they're here right now. Then you have number 1, EU United, the current defending world champions, absolutely dominant. Now, a lot of people thought their world's win was a fluke. I can't really say it was or was not, just because they were playing well during that fall split. They really kicked it up a notch, but then they kicked it up even higher than the worlds, and then they kept it there. So they were kind of going like this, and then they kept it there. They were slowly getting up, but they never went down, except that that first little bit of the spring split. But stuff like that happens. I don't think World's win was a fluke if I absolutely had to take a stance, but objectively, it's hard to tell. It really is hard to tell. It makes total sense why these 2 are top 2. Now you have the only other team in NA that has contention for land is Space Station, and how the mighty have fallen. Now, again, they're not totally out the race yet. But given what has happened, I believe the way they make land is if they went out and Splice lose to Space Station, and I think they play this week. I'm pretty sure they play this week. Let me actually look real quick. Okay, yeah, they play Wednesday. So if Space Station can beat Splice and Splice lose their other matchup, Space Station gets in. But if Splice just beats Space Station straight up, it's over. Splice has a head-to-head, and I believe they'll have a tied record if Space Station would also win their other matchup as well. So it's pretty much all in Space Station to get themselves to land. But if they lose to Splice, it's all out of their hands. So I personally think it will be United and Splice. Again, I was very critical of Splice at the start of the season, but they slowly kind of grew on me. I always thought their side lanes was fine. It was always like their core of, support, mid, jungle. I was always like iffy on like, I thought they were the problem, or at least they weren't really helping the side lanes, because the side lanes have played phenomenal throughout the whole entire year, especially the split. They really turned it on. But I think that even if they were playing this well, okay, now given the fact, yes, they beat United, and yes, they've started to consistently beat SoulG, and they've beat Space Station. If Space Station looked in their normal form, I think we would be having a slightly different conversation. Now, it'd still be Splice and Space Station neck and neck to get that top spot, well, second spot, but I think we would probably be saying Space Station probably just edges it out, because who have they lost to? Well, let me look at their record. So I know for a fact they had to have lost to United. Let me see if I can get a schedule here real quick to see when they lost and who they lost to. Okay, good. I can't see records. Lovely. My esports website just tier 1 right there. Tier 1. I don't remember who they lost to, but they lost I think one or two games they shouldn't have. No, they should have been losing to United. United is by far the top card. But considering how Spice played the most of the split, and considering the star power on Space Station, they should have beat them. And I believe, Luminasi is taking the game off of them, so it's trifecta, at least at some point in the split. And even if they haven't, they have not looked clean. United has looked clean. Space Station has not looked clean this split. Even in there's been some wins where they've been dominant, but again, if I had to put on one side of the scale, this being dominant, this being kind of sloppy, I would put them on the sloppy side for most of their games. But again, I think United and Splice will be number 2. Going on to EU, we have Dignitas, NRG, Obey, and I believe Team Rival's still in contention. Now I do believe Team Rival is it's gonna be really hard for them to make it. They have to have a lot of things go their way. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and say now I don't think they'll get there. They're just gonna have to play in the placement rounds. They'll probably be the best team period in the placement rounds, even over whatever NA team goes in the placement round, whether it be Splice or Space Station or even CLG. I think Rival's the better team. Now, saying that, you have Energy or Obey who also can go in there. And given the fact that Team Rivals actually looked very bad this split, I still do think they have that like Lanimal vibe to them. And as long as we don't get a repeat of last LAN, I do think they can definitely beat Obey. Obey has looked phenomenal this split. NRG is going to be a coin flip on them because historically Rivals have been a little bit better than NRG, even when they were Cyclone GG. They were the only teams that could take a game off of NRG. But NRG, even though they've had a couple, iffy games here and there this split, I still do think overall they're better than Rival. But let's start from the top. Obviously, Dignitas, I think they're actually locked at number 1, or at the very, very least, maybe if they lose out and then like something magic happens, they maybe get 2, but like either way, they get a bye to HRX, I believe, which, God bless, they actually cannot choke. They physically cannot choke top 2 away. Like in Season 3 with Orbit, they choked going to Worlds. In Season 4, they choked into the LAN. They can't choke here. It's literally impossible. They go to HRX. I am so happy. This is probably the only EU team I've actually ever rooted for in a long time. I absolutely love the boys at Dig. I think far and away they make it. So basically, this is going to be number 2. And I also do think whoever is number 2 out of EU is probably the best team in the placement rounds. Like, they make it no matter what to the next rounds. No matter what. So we have Energy. Let's talk about Energy a little bit. 2-time world champions, even though they only have 3 of the 5 members there, but I do think at this point in their career, Millsy is an upgrade over iRaffer. Even though iRaffer, what iRaffer gave to that team behind closed doors cannot really be measured. But I do think Millsy has just constantly been going up, up, up. And iRaffer, slowly kind of, teetered, went down a little bit, kind of came back up, and then teetered again. Well, like I said, Millsy's constantly going up. Then you have Emily too. Actually, they're dueling as a whole. The Emos. I do think they're probably the best dual lane in EU, even over Arco and Trix. I think Arco's a little bit inconsistent. Same thing about Trix. They can have off games every now and then. Obviously, any pro can. Any gamer can have off days. But I just feel like Energy's dual lane's a little bit more consistent than every other dual lane in EU. So I think that, that's a big plus for them there. Then you have Yaman, top 2 mid in EU. It's either him or Zeros. I personally give it to Zeros, but Yaman's like not that far off. Absolutely amazing player. Then you have Adapting, obviously has kind of came back alive this split. He's not kind of that just guy, hey, let me go play Kamizachi, you know, and kind of troll kind of jungler. He's, you know, trying to put his carry boots on. He's putting in work. Very happy to see adapting, kind of be back to his old form. They have Maniac, always consistent, never going to be the reason you lose. Just can't really say anything bad about Maniac. Now, you go a step lower, you have Obey, who have finally, it feels like forever, is finally feeling like the Obey we thought they would be. Now, did we ever think they were going to be number one? No, but like this kind of like, you know, 2-3 area that they're hovering in right now, we figured that's where they would have been. You know, we maybe thought it would have some ramping time. Overall, we thought that they would be here like the whole entire season, kind of, you know, just trading off. With the EU, I believe they have the big four with Dig, Energy, Obey, and Rival, and it's like at any point in time, any of those teams can be top two, and it's just like 1 to 2 of these teams will miss out on Worlds entirely, and it's like, dang, because any of those teams can win Worlds. Any one of those teams can win Worlds. And NA, it's really only EU United, in my opinion, or Splice or Space Station if they just like really kick it up. But probably United's NA's best hope. But like, you just have 4 solid EU teams, that can just take it at any point. So like, it's looking pretty fearful for NA, I'll be honest. But kind of going back to EU specifically. Then you have Obey, you know, Ataraxia, just terrible builds, but always consistent. You have Iraf, who's finally, you know, starting to pick it up. He was kind of shaky. I just don't think he really had synergy with the team at the start. Iraf is finally starting to play well. Then you have Pretty Prime, who has played absolutely phenomenal this split. Even though I didn't think he was top 2, it's not like here's top 2, here's 3, because I think he's 3. He's like, here's top 2 up here, and then like he's just right here. I don't know why exactly he's just can't come alive the split. I think again all of Plebe has, but like him specifically, he's that hard carry again. He's just like, yo, give me the resources and let me just pound everyone. Like just does him dirty. I don't know what it is about him. But I'm glad to see Printer Prime back into his no pun intended prime form. I make myself laugh. Then we have the jungler, Captain Twig, who him and Scream, man. Whoever like lets them build what they build, and like, oh, I don't know how they get away with playing and building how they do. They're just better than everyone, cause there's no way the average Smite player can just get away with what they do. But obviously, all these SPL players aren't average people. That's why they're in the SPL, obviously. But Captain Twig is something special. And I think he is the X Factor of this team. Pretty Palm's the best player on this team, but Captain Twig's the X Factor. Captain Twig can be the reason why they lose, or he can be the reason why they win. And it's going to be which Captain Twig shows up this week. Can he, you know, carry him these last 2 games and make it in top 2? Or does he maybe have one off game and we're stuck at 3? Then you go to Zalia. Just when he first came on Obey, everyone knew he was like the likely option. But nobody was like, okay, dude, he's really going to fill in for Maniac. He's really going to fill in for Variety. It's like, very few people actually thought that. They obviously thought he was a downgrade. But watching him play, I've been very well pleased with his play. There's actually been some games he's just outright carried. You know, people didn't notice it. He's outright carried. And I think if, you know, he fires on all cylinders, they can get top 2. I do think, pound for pound, looking at this objectively, I do think Obey will be number 2. Even with all the good things I said about Energy, I just feel like that Captain Twig X Factor, if Yaman, he doesn't have a bad game if he just has a quiet game. Or the same thing with adapting. If he just has one quiet game, but Captain to it can be consistent, at the very least, I think Obey can win. Now, actually, before I officially give prediction, let me look at the schedule. So we have Energy versus SK, which Energy should win, and then we have Obey versus Dignitas. So Energy will most likely get the win, and Obey most likely will lose. Then it's Obey versus Mouse, which they should win, but the Energy does not play again. Now, I don't actually know how, what the scenarios are, but if Obey can somehow get the win over Dig, and they should beat Mouse, and at the very least, they 2-0 Mouse, they can drop a game to Dig, that's fine. I think if Obey 2-0, with wins of course, if they get 2 wins, I think they make top 2. But it's gonna be very tough. Like I said, that Dig game is going to be very, very important. I think all eyes will be on that Dig versus Obey game. Because like I said, Dig kind of have nothing to lose. So I don't think they'll sandbag, but or they maybe just gonna try one thing, some janky stuff one game. Maybe they don't sweat one game. It's happened before. No, I'm not necessarily saying with them, but in esports it's happened before. You just want to try to high stuff where you at least just kind of you want to slow down a little bit. Who knows? Personally, I still think Obey should get top 2. But it's all going to be if they beat Dig. They beat Dig, they deserve it. If they don't beat Dig, hello to Energy in top 2. So to kind of end this conversation, in NA, I think EU and Splice will be top 2. And in EU, I think it will be Dig and Obey. Thank you guys for watching. This has been Sifn Soundoff, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.